Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 8 British Grand Prix. We're here for round 10 out of 22. Finally into the double digits towards the first half of the season. We're getting close to the second half now. But we're here for one of the biggest venues and biggest races of the calendar. It's a lot of home Grand Prix for a lot of... It's a big home Grand Prix for a lot of our drivers here. We have 15 at the moment. Should be waiting on one more to join Luigi in the Red Bull as the drivers are now heading out onto the track. Right then, Frosty, Roos, they are not having their home Grand Prix today, but Small Nick is, Cura is, Cal is, Hewitt is, Drifting is, Louis from the US, Callum is, the other Callum is, Cargos Blong is, Seb is, Eggy's from Germany, Sin Icon, technically Australia, but also pretty much from here as well, and Logan, the championship leader by 33 points, his home Grand Prix as well. And they're all going to be in it to win this one. It's a personal favourite, and it's one of the best tracks in the world. And we got 15, soon to be 16 of the best Tier 2 drivers in EXFL history. They're going to do battle after 18 minutes to see who is the quickest round the circuit. And then for 26 laps, full throttle as Luigi, there we go, he'll pick his Red Bull. Full dry, so it's going to be a fully sunny weekend at Silverstone. Dry quali, dry race. As we have Frosty Life on the mediums. Getting temp into the tyres, wiggling as he heads through onto Cops soon. We've got Ruse in the Williams. Got Nick still in the pit lane, same with Q, who's heading out now. Him and Logan, the only multiple race winner this season. Q won 2 in a row. Logan got his second win of the season. Last time out in Austria, his second win at Austria, back to back, as he heads out now. Cal still on his outlap, about to start his lap. Josh Hewitt just began his lap in set to 1 on the medium compound tyres. Drifting has already invalidated. There we go, right. Bluey on his outlap. AFC Callum, he's back in the car finally for Ferrari after missing quite a few races, probably the most in a row of his entire EXFL Tier 2 career. He's back at his home Grand Prix, and great. Right, should hopefully sell it. Right, Callum. He's been having some great qualifying results this season. Let's see what he can do after 15 minutes time. Cargos Blong on his outlap, Seb on the inters, so that won't be representative. Eggy on the mediums, quite a few on the not on the softs. Sin Icon just heading through the middle sector now. Logan still on the pit lane. Last week was pretty much a one-shot qualifying. A few minutes into the session it started raining, so everyone got out early, got their laps in, and we saw pole decided by 8 thousandths between Sin Icon and Josh Hewitt. Sin Icon, who took his 4th pole of the season, but is still yet to get a victory. Here's the Mercedes driver, Josh Hewitt then, 26.3. That's the benchmark on the mediums, but Sin Icon should look to go faster than that. Crosses the line. It's only a 26.4. So on a tyre slower, Hewitt's ahead of Sin Icon, who may have messed up, but Cal, he's looking for that pace after getting his maiden win 7 races ago. In Australia. It's gone a bit downhill since then, not really scrapping for the positions he wanted to, but hopefully last week and today and a few more races can show that Cal is coming back into it and fighting, and with a lap time like that, that's a really good banker for him, as Eggy has somewhere messed up. Oh, then again, he's on the mediums. 1.1 down. Callum, he can't best Cal either, 10th down, so Cal looking good at the moment for his home Grand Prix. Looks like that's adding a bit of extra. As Roos by half a second. That's a mega banker for Roos. Who raced last week in Austria but was at the back and didn't really get to show the potential. Foot fighting in Imola with Sin Icon for the win, but due to penalties couldn't get it. But yeah, that is a mega lap for a banker from the Williams. See if anyone can beat that. Damn. As Car goes, Blonde goes 4th, Cure goes 3rd. But there is quite a gap to Roos. Right, just hoping Luigi get into his help take control of his car. Right, Nick. What about him? He's invalidated. Right, Callum right behind. It's in the 40s, so you'll have to go again. As he has already done a lap, 1.6 seconds off. 15 on his out lap, making sure not to invalidate this time. Bluey, Seb and Logan still in the pit lane. Let's see what they can do then. So in terms of tyre, Icon and Frosty did theirs on mediums, 9/10 off. Because 2nd to 5th, we'd expect them to be around 5th to 8th, a few creeping into the top 4, so there's still the gap, but I'd say Roos is definitely fighting for pole. Because we're still waiting for some other names, such as Luigi, Seb and Logan. Sin Icon saying he's pretty bad at this track. Luigi is into his Red Bull now, heading out on the mediums with just under 11 minutes to go of this very sunny qualifying session. What about drifting then? Just heading through the first sector now. I want to catch someone about to start a lap. I think Nick's about to finish a lap. 1 sector to go then for the Haas driver. But he's heading back into the pits, destroys the bollard. As we got the Ferrari of Callum going off there into the gravel. Is this Seb? Nope, that's Hewitt. Right, we'll ride on board with Josh Hewitt then on his soft compound tyre run. Heading through Stowe now. Into Vale. Right then, round the final corner comes the AlphaTauri to cross the line to start his 2nd lap with just over 10 minutes to go remaining in this session. So you want to go flat to the right for turn 1. You don't really have to think about doing anything until the late braking of turn 3. Climbing down the gears, make sure to avoid the orange bump, but making sure to take as much inside black and white curb and outside as you can. As he gets on the exit, DRS will flick open now as we're onto the straight. And let's see how much he can gain towards the end of the first sector. As Luigi's already out and he's crashed at Stowe. He's found at just over a 10th. Has Josh Hewitt through Woodcut. And the long rotation to the right. Now on the power. As we head up. Flat to the floor to Stowe. Maybe a bit of a lift. Maybe a bit of a downshift. As we head it right. Right on the edge. Cusp of being invalidated there. Sure, in the race you'll definitely need to downshift and reduce speed. That's a great camera angle through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel comes the AlphaTauri, but he's invalidated. Has he have to? He was 4/10 up. Was Josh Hewitt who's going to split that gap to Roos in half and maybe even find a bit more time in the last sector, but at the moment he's going to have to go again. Callum found 2/10 in the first sector. The track is ramping up. The drivers are ramping up. Sin Icon still on the medium compound tyre. What about Seb then? Through the first sector. .27.4 for the AlphaTauri. So yeah, Luigi crashed at Stowe and will be starting this Grand Prix. Well, as long as Nick, Seb and Logan get a lap time on the board. Last, as Logan is on his outlap heading through Stowe now. Seb. Let's see what he can do for Maggots and Beckett's. Can he not invalidate? Like his teammate, little bit of loss of traction there, and Seb's having to save it. So both AlphaTauris messing up in Chapel, and that's really going to cost him. Not invalidated, but then again, he lost more time than gained. So Logan then, heading through turn 1. Right on the cusp there of invalidating a flat-out corner, at least in qualifying. Through turn 3, taking it very nice. It's number 97, the championship leader by 33 points. Ahead of Josh Hewitt, who's 7 points ahead of Kua. And Callum, by 7 thousandths, has just missed out on taking provisional pole away from Roos, who's just started their lap. Set back into the pit lane. Logan, 27.3, solid first sector. That's Callum on his second lap, not able to beat Roos, but 7 thousandths, that is close. What about Roos then? Through the first sector, can they find any more time? No, they're 1.9 down, they've messed up somewhere. So you'll have to wait until the final runs to see what the Williams can do. As for Logan, heading through the middle sector now, can he get it right as someone's just crossed the line? The Alfa Romeo of Eggy has gone P6. Him and his teammate really close. Seems like Cargo Splong has been besting Eggy a little bit recently in qualifying and in the races too, as Kua now goes to P3, but still 4 tenths off. Logan then, let's see what he can deliver. Passing Stowe now into Vale for the final couple corners. The Avatar coming out the pit lane of Hewitt, I think, but here we go. Championship leader Logan across the line. It's going to be a 25.8, and it's P3 at the moment, just over 2.5 tenths off the front two. And yeah, you want to try 8 thousandths, the difference for pole and second last week. Now it's 7 thousandths at the moment. So Seb on another outlap, same with Hewitt, with 6 minutes to go. Looks like they're not done. Might be another used set as Nick, making Haas very happy at the moment, goes P3. That's great for the American team at the moment. The most successful in terms of points team. Haas still number 1 at the moment, ahead of McLaren, who are pretty much best in everything else. Most wins, most constructors. And yeah, Logan, even on his outlap, still pushing. Cal, that's still a solid lap time to be P6 on his banker. But yeah, that's Roos's banker, still in first. But yeah, Cal, he's in the thick of it, which is great to see. Ahead of both Alfa Romeos. Only a few points separate the Alpha Tauris to the McLaren, so it's vital that Cal does everything he can to not only improve himself, but for his results for himself, but just the team as well. Right, where's Seb? He's heading through the final couple corners now to begin his lap. Just checking the chat. Right, Seb into turn 1 then. He's the only driver remaining in this session that hasn't set a lap time at the moment. Through turn 3 and turn 4. Seems like he's struggling with traction a little bit on the exit of corners. And it was a 27.3 for Logan in the first sector. It is a 27.4 for Seb. So he's a bit down at the moment. That'll put him around about P8 roughly. Just exiting Woodcut now, heading on to the straight, the old pit straight, through Stowe now. And it can be a joy to drive this track at times. You on your own, no one else near you, going through the motions. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, can he do it this time? Yes he can. DRS open, and it's going to be a 1 minute 2.5 for the second sector split. Sin Icon goes P4 ahead of Logan, still 2 tenths off with just under 4 minutes to go. Now through Stowe comes the Alpha Tauri, just trying to keep it on track facing forward. Heavy braking into Vale, avoiding the sausage curbs, which he's doing perfectly. Final corner, you just want to get it across the line as soon as possible. Comes the Alpha Tauri, it's a 25.7 to go P5 and get himself ahead of Logan. That's very close indeed. From 4th to 6th. Nick making the gap appear between 4th to 2nd, but yeah, those top two separated by nothing at the moment. And yeah, Luigi will start this race from last. Bluey's still got quite a bit to gain, a whole second. Callum, before he missed quite a few races, he was doing pretty well in quali. He's now going to regain that momentum. And Josh Hewitt, second in the World Championship, still down in 11th. Top 11 covered by just under 8 tenths. Top 10 covered by under 7 tenths. Top 6 covered under just under 3 tenths. And yeah, top 3 still in the pit lane. Sin Icon, who will be heading back. If he has enough time to get out, I'm not too sure. Might just be alright. Seb, really, I don't think Seb will be able to get out again. So I think that's it. That's it for him. That'll be P5 at best. Logan in the pit lane. Q and Callum on their outlaps. Same with Bluey, same with Drifting. So Cal then, who took pole, his first pole, his only pole at the moment, in the opening round of the season with quite the lap to best his teammate. 10 weeks later, he embarks on his final run in qualifying at his home Grand Prix. Let's see what he can do then with the McLaren. British team, British driver, British Grand Prix. A little bit of a lock there between 3 to 4, but so far so good for the McLaren driver. Now onto the straight. DRS open. Alfa Romeo in front, getting out the way. 27.3 is what you want to be aiming for. It's a 27.2. As that, yeah, like I was saying, Seb, that's it for him. P5 for him at the moment. But at the moment, Cal is P8, finding the time he needs. It's solid, it's good, it's promising for the McLaren, who's really taking this to the limit as the others around him will be beginning their laps, about to start their laps. Q is just about to set his first sector. We'll carry on with Cal, though, as he heads through Maggots and Beckett's. Now through Chapel, just taking it a bit wider onto the curb. DRS open. So 1 minute 2.5 is exactly what his teammate was doing. Now he's lost a bit of time in that middle sector, but he's still up as he's heading into Stowe now. The Alfa Romeo, the other Alfa Romeo, gets out the way. He's got a bit of traffic in front of the Haas and his teammate about to start a lap. And Cal goes into the pits. He's not going to go through with the lap. He's going to go into the pits. It's P8. Whoa! Don't know what he's doing there. But anyway, Kua, who's down by a bit, and he's invalidated, so he crashes out as well. Logan has started his lap. Smallnick has literally just started his lap. And Sin Icon, Callum and Ruse, we still await them. Cargos Blanc, Eggy, they're all heading into the first sector then. Who's the leader? And Josh Hewitt and Frosty, it looks like they'll be the last to cross the line. Oh no, Sin Icon will. He's cutting across the track. Sin Icon's definitely not going to make this. With 17 seconds to go, he's cutting all the corners to try and get it across the line, start his lap, but that's not going to be enough time. So Sin Icon, P4 for him, Seb P5 for him, Q P7 for him, and Cal P8. What can the rest do? Bluey has just crossed the line to, I think, start his lap. What about Ruse? Can they find anything in sector 1? A 10th and a half already. What about Callum? He's down by about half a tenth, so Roos could be getting their first pole of their Tier 2 career. Sin Icon will not take his 5th pole of the season. He'll be the 2nd row at best. What about Logan then? He's down by a little bit through the middle sector. Can he improve by any fine margin that could see him at the front of the 2nd row across the line for the championship leader? It's P6 and it's the 3rd row with his teammate on the 4th. So that's it for him. Drifting P11 at best. What about Josh Hewitt? He's found half a second. He's flying. Could he best his championship rival at the moment in P6? At the moment, Smallnick improves by a little bit, but not enough to 3rd. Eggy and Cargos Blanc, 8th and 9th, but it's the top 2. Can Callum get pole? He gets it by 2,000s, and Ruse has spun by 2,000s. Callum at the end has got pole position. Ruse messed up, and Callum found the time he needed, just about as Josh Hewitt goes P4. And you thought last week was close with 8 thousandths between pole and 2nd. It is 2 thousandths between Callum and Roos. As Roos does a burnout across the line. That is your grid for the British Grand Prix. And Callum has taken pole position. His 2nd of the season. His first came in Australia. And by 2 thousandths. It was looking good for Roos. A 10th and a half up after the first sector. They messed up. And that still has promise for the race, for good race pace. But Haas will be thrilled with that. 1st and 3rd. Alpha Tauri 4th and 6th. McLaren 7th and 11th. Alfa Romeo 9th and 10th. And what a race we have in store then. Callum saying that was close. Indeed. Bit overcast for the race. But here we go then. The drivers will be loading onto the grid. Hard compound tyres at the moment for everyone. Hard medium seems like it'll be the case. Maybe hard soft if they can look after the tyres enough. But they'll be making setup tweaks, fuel adjustments, and setup changes. 26 laps ahead of us then. It is one of the tracks we anticipate for one of the races of the season. This is Silverstone, this is EXFL, this is Tier 2, and this is 16 drivers gearing up with the lights coming on. The revs rise, Callum on the left, Ruse on the right, the revs rise, and restart. That's a first in a while, Jesus. The lights were held for way too long for that to be a normal thingy. Apologies, we'll have like, I don't know, a 5-minute wait. Just waiting for Hewitt. Sin, Seb, Logan, Cure, Drifting, Frosty, Callum. There we go. Josh was fourth. Right. Take 2. It's been a good minute since we've had to do a restart. We're in March. It's been, what, 9 months? And this game's still not fixed. Surprising no one. Right. Oh yeah. Just reminding them a lot. Remember their setups. And then hopefully they'll adjust their fuel and their tyres and strategy again. I don't think they've loaded in yet. They're still picking their tyre allocation. Waiting for players. Right, I think they've loaded in now. Hey, shout out to Niels. Big up. Hope you enjoyed the race, mate. And good luck tomorrow. Obviously, AFC Callum putting on the medium compound tyres. Same with Sin Icon. Alright, here we go. Take 2. This is Silverstone. This is EXFL Tier 2. And this is 16 drivers waiting for those 5 lights to appear. And when they go out, as the revs rise, we're away here in Silverstone. Callum on the left, Roos on the right, and it seems like they've got a bad start because Nick is trying to make it a Haas 1-2. Round the outside into turn 1. Can he get the move done? No. Roos defends as Josh holds on to P4 on the hard compound tyres. Smolnik on the soft compound tyres, but at the moment they've all managed to make their way through. Once again, Tier 2 on the opening few corners. It's fine. And at the moment, Callum has got a good lead ahead of Roos, then Nick, then Hewitt right on the back. And then Seb battling away with Sin Icon, trying to make it an AlphaTauri. 4 and 5. We've got a yellow at the back, and it's Logan, the championship leader, once again on the opening lap of a Grand Prix. He finds himself at the back as they head through Woodcut now. Callum versus Roos versus Smolnik versus Josh Hewitt. Seb ahead of Sin Icon as they plunge their way down into Copse Corner for the first time. Single file for the lot of them, at least in the top 10. And so close, but not quite close enough for any sort of moves. Logan has it all to do then. I don't think he has damage, but his spirit's surely been dampened a little bit. But we've seen him in this sort of position before. The opening race at Bahrain, Imola a few weeks later, and now the British Grand Prix. Let's see where he can come back from, as we see FC Callum making a move on Cow. 4P10, the final points paying position at the moment on the opening lap. Roos right on the back of Callum. Heading into Stowe Corner now. Callum versus Cow. Callum goes wide off the track a little bit there. Cow has to stay behind, drifting, watching this unfold. Does he try and move down the inside? No. Frosty watching this unfold with Bluey in front of him. And to complete the first lap of 26 then, it's Callum but Ruse is right on the back of him. Same with his teammate. It's hards versus mediums versus softs for the top 3. Biggest gainer at the moment, it is AFC Callum from P14 up to P10. And we've already seen moves, Sin Icon versus Cure. Put the tyre allocation on there. Yeah, so Nick, the only one on the softs. Ruse, Sin, Callum and Bluey all went up mediums. The rest all on the hard compound tyres. It seems like Sin Icon's already struggling here as Cure's going to the inside. And Nick is trying to make it a Haas 1-2. Can he dare it round the outside of Ruse? Not quite. They make slight contact and he has to go onto the gravel. Ruse not giving him any room to breathe. But now, through Cop's corner, they make slight contact. Nick now on the inside of Ruse. Down the inside goes Nick on Ruse, but Ruse is still there. Round the outside comes back at the Williams, and they're going to go wheel to wheel through Maggots and Beckett's, but Ruse lets him go. It's a Haas 1-2 at Silverstone with Cure getting ahead of Sin Icon, or is he? As Sin Icon is back ahead of the Alpine, and then battling is allowing the top 5 to break away. Sin Icon holding up a train all the way down to 12th as Cure now under pressure from Eggy, who's in the slip of the Mercedes, and Cure has to let him go for now, but he goes wide and allows Cure back down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and back up in the 7th goes the Alpine, and Sin Icon got his work cut out for him after not being able to get the DRS, which is activated now as Callum and Cal once again battling through the final corner. Cal now ahead of Callum, and Small Nick on the soft compound tyre. What do Haas do on lap 3 as Ruse is on the back of the 2 American cars? Nick using all his battery there, and now he's got the DRS, and is he going to take the lead away from his teammate? He goes to the inside then. The Haas wheel to wheel, they go into Brooklands, and Nick now takes the lead ahead of his teammate through Woodcut now. Bit wide on exit, better on entry, and now he's just going to have to hope to get the gap. Ruse a lot more battery than 2 ahead combined, as the 2 AlphaTauris are looking to hang on here, as Doggo and Drifting are wheel to wheel, and he's losing time to Luigi now. Ruse with a 3-second already. So Drifting losing ground there, but Ruse is the first one to get a penalty. That's a bit of a shock, but it's also a bit no surprise considering they did get quite a few in Imola. And I think that was another warning as Callum is coming back at his teammate. We got a yellow and Callum's out in the background, and that's caused the safety car. He's crashed at Chapel, and that has brought Logan back into play. And what do they do down at Haas? Do they pit? No. Ruse comes in though, and I don't know why Small Nick hasn't pitted, because it's the longest pit lane of the season and you're on softs. Frosty 5-second collision with Bluey. Something happened there. What's happened? Nope. Maybe he was coming into the pits and there was a, I don't know. Well, Frosty's at the back at the moment. Maybe he can pit again and serve it. But he's coming to the pits on hards. Logan's also pitting. Very interesting. Ruse has pitted onto a new set of mediums, so they'll have to pit again. Medium. That's interesting. 3 laps on the medium compound tyre and you've pitted for another set of mediums. So all they can really do is go hards, but why would you... we'll see how it plays out. Logan's done the same, but he was on hards anyway, so he can go medium, which I guess is possible. Frosty doing the same. Right then, Haas 1-2 at the moment. Look at the standings, constructors-wise anyway. Haas, 4th on 107 points, 18 behind Alfa Romeo, who are currently 7th and 8th. If they would have finished like this, they would be ahead of them into 3rd. But they've got quite a bit of a gap to go to AlphaTauri and McLaren, who are separated only by 4 points. And like most racers in the first stages of the race, advantage AlphaTauri, because McLaren aren't exactly cooking at the moment. But towards the end, they somehow find their strive, or AlphaTauri lose some strife. But at the moment, it's looking good for them. Hewitt needs these points, 33 points. He's trailing Logan, as going off there as Luigi onto the grass. Don't know what's happening there. It'll be another lap behind the safety car. No one's caught up yet. Does Nick pit this time? He does indeed, because he cannot afford to stay out and then pit for half a minute. Don't know why he didn't the first time round, but he won't. He will only have lost a couple of places, really. Many to Logan and Frosty. So Logan, the charge begins. Once again, another safety car here to help him. And Nick, what will he pit onto is the key question. Will it be hard compound tyres or is it mediums? I think that's the hards. Yep. So he's the only one of the 4 to go on to the white stripe tyre. Frosty... Wait. Was it Frosty and Bluey had something and one of them got a 5 set? I think it was Frosty. He must have served it. Yeah. Must have got it before the pit lane to serve it in the pit lane, which might be a first, but about like short of a time span it was. But anyway, Bruce has the first 3 set. Huh? Oh no, there. Okay, so they're all separate. It wasn't like a glitch or anything. Right, and unfortunately, after missing quite a few weeks, Callum, after coming back, has crashed out there and he's caused this safety car. And looks like Nick is already not happy, asking who the Williams was in P2. Seems like when he tried round the outside at Woodcut, he may have wanted more space because he got sent onto the curb and a bit onto the gravel. But the safety car is coming in this lap. And Callum will lead them away. This time, he's the lone 1 Haas against the 2 teammates. He's going to be in Roos's position as, yeah, the 2 AlphaTauris on the hard compound tyres, followed by Sin on the mediums. Kira in P5. Don't discount him. He's only 7 points off Hewitt as well. Right then, here we go. Callum ramping up the speed as we head into Vale. He's keeping it at a constant speed. When will he go? It seems like he'll be now. So through the final corner comes the Haas. A little bit of a wiggle from the rear there, but across the line then to start lap 6. 20 to go, and Hewitt has already started this restart right on the back of the Haas. Bit wide there though for the driver in his home Grand Prix. Seb following behind. Sin Icon on the mediums. Gonna have to try and get some life out of those. Ruse already ahead of Bluey. Let's see what Logan can do, as now he's stuck behind the Mercedes. Does he try a dive to the inside? Yes, he does. A little bit of wheel banging as Bluey goes off himself because of that. There's a little bit of contact there. Smolnik's trying to make his way through the field. Cal on the back of Cargo's Blong. Now down the inside of Cargo's Blong up into 7th as the Alfa Romeo doesn't fight it. Ruse now ahead of his teammate. Drifting. Doesn't put up too much of a fight. And I'm sure he will just let Logan bite. Bluey still defending from Nick. He's on the inside. He's going to blast his battery now. Bluey's doing the same thing. He's in the slipstream. Does Nick try it to the inside at Cops, or does he stay behind? He's going to have to stay behind for now. But now Bluey goes a bit wide. That allows Nick to get an incentive. He would have to be bold to try and move into the Maggots-Beckett's complex. He's holding him up, however. And does he try around the outside? A little bit of contact there. And he's going to have to stay behind for now. The difference in speed, pace at the back of the field is quite extraordinary. But now he's in the slip. Now he's getting defensive from Bluey, but to the inside should be the move done for the Mercedes, for the Haas on the Mercedes. But Bluey's coming back at him a little bit. He's used a lot of battery as Ruse is now on the move once again as he's ahead of Luigi, who's under pressure, and now Drifting gets ahead of the Red Bull as Logan will look to overtake him soon. Might even be into turn 1 if he blasts his battery enough. Luigi defensive on Logan, so he can't quite get the move done. So Nick is ahead of Bluey and Frosty trailing behind. Josh right on the back of Callum. Eggy not using his ERS as much. Logan does get ahead of Luigi. Going wide there is the Red Bull. Did he go wide himself? Did Logan force him off? Whatever the case, he's up in 11th now. And now he's got Drifting in front of him. Ruse already on the back of Cargo's Blong. He's joined this 5-car train here from Kua, who's nearly a second off Sin Icon. He's using those mediums to good use to stay on the train of the top guys and riding on board. with the AlphaTauri of Hewitt. Heading into Copse Corner now, as DRS will be activated soon. Seb's gonna lose in touch with his teammate at the moment. He's nearly a second behind him as Sin Icon piling the pressure on the AlphaTauri. Ruse is now ahead of Carlos Blanc, making up moves. There goes Logan on drifting to get into P10. Frosty gets ahead of Bluey for P14. Nick, does he try and move to the inside on Luigi? Down the inside goes the Haas. The Red Bull just lets him go. Does know that that is not his fight at the moment. And they stay single file as they are. Frosty, 3-second time penalty. Little bit of contact between Luigi and Nick there. As Nick's all over the back of Drifting. Drifting goes defensive to the inside a little. Nick's going to brave it out on the inside. Drifting versus Nick round the outside. Drifting goes wide and has to go off. No grip on the outside there. He's still there and he's ahead of Nick. And did he get an illegal overtake or not? Whatever the case, he's stayed ahead for now. Onto the curb. That allows Nick with a better exit and a DRS. And he should fly past as Ruse makes another move on the mediums. Remember, they have to pit again. And they've got that 3 seconds, so it's not the win confirmed at the moment. Carlos Blanc and Callum have been overtaken. Nick versus Drifting, who goes off there into the wall. Loses a bit of wing damage. And such easy passes are just being avoided today. Doesn't have to be this complicated at the moment. It's getting complicated. But anyway, for now, Nick, Logan and mainly Ruse are making up places, and they hit the back of Eggy there. Impatient to get on with it, and now the DRS and the ERS will help them fly by. Eggy not fighting it. And up into P6 now goes the Williams. Further front, still a DRS train. Sin Icon still right on the back of Seb. In his 101st Grand Prix, he became the first ever EXFL Tier 2 Centurion, the first to reach 100 races in the tier. And now here's to the next, however many he does. Currently in third, getting some decent results lately, after quite an unlucky start. Hewitt getting his second podium of the season, last time out in Austria. A few unlucky results have led to why Logan has got this gap, but at the moment, Logan for the third time this season weaving his way through the field in the points at the moment, and he's on the back of the Alfa Romeo of Carlos Blanc, but now he's well past him. Down the inside goes the McLaren, and next up is his teammate as Ruse has got Q up. That was probably the easiest one so far. So Ruse's best bet is to keep doing what they're doing, overtake these four and get the gap and hope no more safety cars. It's already into the pit lane, Drifting after changing his wing, and Bluey onto the hard compound tyres. It will be soon when these lots start to pit. Logan has to chase down his teammate now, not quite within a second for DRS. Same ERS as Eggy, not using it all, 10% more than Q up. And Ruse, even though they're making their way through the field, they've got a decent amount of ERS and a decent amount of traction to be all over the back of Sin Icon. Do they try it to the inside? No, they're going to back out for now. As Frosty versus Luigi. Round the outside goes the Aston Martin, ahead of the Red Bull. Now Logan's caught the DRS train from first all the way down to 11th. Still going strong. Nick, Logan and Ruse, the only ones who have pitted in that top 11. So they'll be on better rubber. And they are all on the mediums, that's why they are making their way up. Sin Icon, he's 2 on the mediums, but has his defense ended. Ruse in the slip, not quite close enough, but do they dare try ascend? And let Sin Icon get under pressure. They do indeed. And can they try fully around the outside? Here we go then, through Woodcut. Ruse versus Sin Icon. Sin Icon gets ahead. Ruse, a little bit of a snap there, thinking they might get forced out a bit. But now, using the battery, heading towards Cops. Sin Icon versus Ruse. Sin Icon still there. And around the outside, they maintain themselves wheel to wheel. But Ruse is now ahead of the Mercedes, and Seb messing up a little bit there. And there's definitely a warning. And Ruse may find themselves up in third soon, as we might see a change of leadership. Josh using everything he has to get ahead of Callum and take the lead of the British Grand Prix, just ahead of the Haas, but the Haas is not giving up without a fight. Now he has to. And Josh, for now, has got the Grand Prix lead. And Seb, how long can he hold Ruse? It's barely giving her any space round the outside. Goes Ruse, but has to back off. That was a bit naughty from Seb. The space given, quite questionable. But for now, he's still in third. Battles everywhere you look, but Josh Hewitt depleting his ERS to get P1 in the race at the moment. And maybe another 5 laps or so, maybe even less than that, 4 or 3. They will be pitting from the hards to the mediums. Ruse will have to pit onto a new set of mediums. And it's working at the moment. He's just got to, they're just got to hope that others around them get penalties. And this is a great shot. But Josh at the moment, still staying ahead of Callum. Both AlphaTauris, no ERS pretty much. Ruse, top 3 combined, still don't have enough to challenge them at the moment. Sin Icon, same. Hewitt, same. Eggy, pretty much. Cal, using a bit. Logan on 67. And they're still all within DRS of one another. And Ruse versus Seb. Seb's still ahead of the Williams. Flashing, making Ruse annoyed, trying to get past him on much better rubber. And now they're going to use a bit of their ERS with Seb having nothing to defend. And this will allow them maybe to get up into third, but Seb is using everything still. And here we go, Callum retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix. Josh tries a switchback. And do they dare go wheel to wheel while in the lead? No, Josh decides now's a good time to pit. 11 laps in on the hards for 15 laps on the mediums. As Ruse down the inside on the curb has nearly lost it. And that allows Sin Icon, who has major reflexes, to get ahead of Ruse. That could have so nearly been a calamity of a crash. But Ruse trying a move at the final corner on Seb. Went over the orange sausage curb. Probably rule 1 around this track. You do not want to touch them. And has lost the place to Sin. Seb struggling. Callum in the lead. Hewitt, where does he come out? In P13. Oh my god, he's still in the pit lane. But he'll be in fresh air on medium compound tyres to do more than half race distance. If he wants this undercut to go well, he needs to push but also save a bit of the tyres. As Ruse wheel to wheel with Sin Icon, now ahead of Sin Icon. They're still using battery, they're still going to go wheel to wheel into Copse Corner for the second time, and for the second time round they still maintain themselves wheel to wheel. Sin versus Ruse, who's going to back out, who's going to plant the throttle? Down the inside goes Ruse to get back into third ahead of Sin Icon, as Seb putting Callum under pressure for P1. And they're fearless, these tier 2 drivers, sometimes through those kind of corners. No one wants to back out. But here comes Seb then, the second AlphaTauri, takes the lead of their home Grand Prix, gets into the lead of the British Grand Prix, and for now holds up against Callum. Ruse, what do they try? A little late on the brakes there, as down the inside goes Sin Icon, and just about avoids any contact. The top 5 should say, all separated by just over a second. And the leader is flashing with 5%, 19, bigger and bigger at the moment. As you look further down the order, Cal still ahead of Logan as he's trying to get ahead of Eggy down the inside. A little bit of a lunge. Eggy sees him, and that allows Logan to go around the outside of his teammate. And down the inside goes the McLaren. Good move. I don't know if that was orchestrated, but whatever the case, Logan pulls off a good move to get up into 7th. Looking further on, Ruse versus Callum down the inside. Goes the Williams. Does Callum fight it? Not really. Sin now tries to take advantage of this. Does he try a little switch to the inside? Callum's there to block him off, and they're still going to go wheel to wheel with Sin using his battery and Callum using his to stay ahead. He's in the slip of Ruse, and no sorts of overtakes at the moment as they fly through Copse Corner. That's another warning for Seb, surely. And they're getting all a bit too close to one another. They're too late on the brakes by half a second. Too early on the brakes, you never know what it could cause, as Seb is really backing them now. And Ruse to take the lead of the British Grand Prix. They'll pull left with Seb using everything he has at the moment. They're nose to tail, they're inches. It's 3 wide, it's 4 wide for the lead at the British Grand Prix. How on earth have they all managed to stay facing forward? Whatever the case, it's brilliant as the bollard gets destroyed. And in comes, is that Seb? It is indeed. So the other AlphaTauri pits now. Unbelievable as Callum still maintains the lead ahead of Sin Icon. And this time Ruse tries around the outside of the final corner. We have a yellow at the back, and it's Cal The McLaren once again getting involved in an unlucky moment midway through the race. And that was mental. 3 wide, it was 4 wide heading into Stowe. As Seb now pits, where does he come out in front compared to his teammate? Josh Hewitt, fastest lap of the Grand Prix. There's Seb, and Hewitt will go ahead by quite a margin as they have been battling so much. This is going to help Hewitt, but does he have the tyres to hang on? Roos really struggling on traction. A few corners of this track. Bluey Doggo, 5 seconds for speeding. They retire. Well, not even the halfway mark for them. It was lap 12. Sin Icon now gets a penalty. We're going a bit too wide at Cops. And Roos on the back of the Mercedes, who's been a thorn in their side for a lot of this race. Good exit from the Williams, but nowhere really to go. Backing off a little bit there as Cargos Blanc gets ahead of Nick. And we might see Roos getting ahead of Sid Icon, but Sid using everything he has. And now the top 2 are flashing to stay in P2. And when do the pit stops start happening? Callum, does he come in? No, he stays out. Sin Icon comes in though on the medium compound tyres, so he will have to pit onto the hard compound tyres. And Kua being cheeky there to try and get ahead of Sin, but it's cost him. He's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding. He tried to overtake the Mercedes, and it's cost him dearly with a 5-second time penalty. Logan following them in, same with Eggy, same with Nick, and Frosty another 3 seconds. So the top 2 on their own at the moment now. Cargos Blanc once again staying out, going along. Frosty doing the same. And those who are on the hards will pit for mediums. Those who are on the mediums, Sin Icon, will have to pit for the hard compound tyres. Kua, Sin, Logan, Eggy, they are as they were, but through goes Josh Hewitt, already into turn 1. That is a gap that the others are going to have to try and nail down. Alpha Tauri for the moment pulling a master stroke at the moment because Seb can hold them up if he needs to, and the gap between Hewitt to the rest is about 9 seconds with 10 to go. The last thing they need is a safety car, and if they can hold on to the tyre life, they have pulled a pretty good strategy at the moment. Roos, what about them then? They're going to be, hang on. So they're all on the mediums apart from Sin on the hards. He's going to be a bit of a sitting duck at some moments, but they're similar tyres in some retrospects. So here we go, Roos for the lead of the Grand Prix versus Callum. If he wants to go into the pit lane and they're wheel to wheel, yeah, he has to back off there, making sure not to speed. It's very easy to do so, but all good for the Haas. Switch to the penalties. Right, he's into the pits. Where is his teammate Nick? He's behind Logan, who's already up to the back of Sin Icon. So Logan's a net P6 at the moment, and now it's a net P5. Sin Icon defenseless. As Logan on the comeback then. Hewitt in dreamland at the moment. Callum puts the medium compound tyres on. The back of the train ends with Eggy all the way up to Kua. 2.4 behind Seb. Josh Hewitt, fastest lap of the race. Now it's Seb with the fastest lap of the race. And where does Callum come out in comparison to all this? He might get ahead of Logan. It's going to be close between him and the McLaren. Here they are, wheel to wheel. Logan has to go later on the brakes. He has to go round the outside as Callum gets tagged by Sin Icon, and they both spin, and his teammate gets held up as well, and there's been contact as Logan tried it around the outside. Nothing wrong he did. Callum backed off a bit too much, and that's cost him his teammate and Sin Icon. 3 key names in this Grand Prix. 2 of the 3 names who were fighting for the win in the opening laps. And did Callum back off a bit too much? Did Sin Icon get too greedy on the accelerator? It's cost them dearly. And Small Nick really just a victim to all that, having to brake, avoid it, and losing time. That allows Eggy to gain places. Logan's home and dry at the moment, and he's on the back of Kua. And yeah, Callum comes out the pit lane, and he finds himself tagged from the rear for Sin Icon with 10 laps to go. It's definitely going to be looked at. Logan already on the back of Q as well, 52 versus 54. These two know how to save the rear rest. These two know how to not get penalties, at least track limits wise. Cargos Blanc in, Roos in for the soft compound tyre. This is going to be interesting. And Cargos Blanc has done the same. Like I said, if you can take the hards long into the Grand Prix, nurture them, look after them, instead of putting mediums on at the end, you can put the softs on as Logan is flying. Roos and Cargos Blanc coming out. Where's Roos going to end up? P6 is going to be close with Eggy, but for now, yeah, it's 6th place for Roos with a 3 set. Kewer's got a 5 set, and Frosty still in P1 with 6 seconds of penalties. But at the moment, 3.4 seconds is the gap between Josh and Seb. 1.8 to Kewer. Kewer's gaining time on them. About half a second over the last lap and a bit. So Logan, after being spun, or I don't know what happened at turn 4 before the straight on the opening lap. After whatever happened to him, he was down in last, P16, and now he finds himself on the verge, if he gets past Kewer, of P3. I just don't know how you do it. But at the moment, Josh Hewitt just has to make sure he doesn't get any sort of penalty, and he can use Seb, if they're working together, which they surely are, and they surely should, to hold up the rest to get Josh the victory. Here comes Logan on Kewer. Does he try it to the inside? Yes, he does. Kewer doesn't put up much of a fight, but they do make a bit of contact in the process. And Kewer's just going to have to hope that Logan drags him along with him. But Roos is already closing up to the back of them as Frosty's in. And Roos could still, even with that 3 set, I generally would say they could still win the race. It's going to be close. But if they squabble enough, AlphaTauri, once again, the word masterstroke is getting flung around a bit. And for now, with 8 laps to go, it's looking good. Eggy, once again, a bit in no man's land. He's going to be overtaken by his teammates soon. But Alfa Romeo are still going to get some solid points. But then again, Nick isn't a million miles away from both of them, right on the back. Sin Icon, nowhere. Callum, also kind of nowhere. And once again, it's been a disappointing day for Cal down in P13. Don't know what happened at the final corner. As we look back to the battle for P3, Logan versus Kewer versus Roos. Should say Van Dorn like I did in Imola, but we got a yellow. And it's drifting. And you better not try and cause anything. But he's spun at the exit of Stowe. The fight continues for P3. Kewer on the back. Roos already trying to move on the Alpine. The Alpine goes to the inside of Logan. Roos has to back out for now. He turns in. Nearly spins the Alpine. So close. There was a bit of contact. But he placed his car where he needed to. And they are still gaining together on Seb. And Seb is gaining on Hewitt, who's on the oldest tyres. And they're all going to sort of close in on one another towards the end. The gap that was quite impressive when they came out the pit lane has been destroyed by nearly about 70%. And that's probably what his tyres will be on towards the end. 7 laps, 5 laps. It's a 3-lap difference, but that could still make all the difference. The AlphaTauris are lucky. Whoa! As the Alpine versus the Williams there. Roos gets up in a 4th then and tries ascend on Logan for P3. And now he's got the momentum around the outside. We've got a yellow. And drifting once again as Logan versus Roos for P3. The drifting can stop causing yellows for 1 set. We can actually look at battles. Logan still in front of Roos for P3 at the moment. On the verge of DRS for Seb. Cargos Blanc gets a yellow. Drifting, for God's sake. And that's caused a safety car, and that's changed the course of the race. Heading into the pits, do they try any sort of games with overtakes? Not quite this time. Kewer is able to serve his 5 set now. Going to drop him down to 11th. And Sin Icon and Luigi have decided to stay out. So this is played into the hands of Logan, who has got ahead of Seb, who's got a 3 set. That must have happened later on. And Cargo's Blong too. So Logan's managed to jump one of the Alpha Towers after they both had to stack. This does make it a bit equal though, because they're all on new softs, which might not be a bad thing for Alpha Tower, because it was looking more and more certain they were going to get caught. So this might have not been the end of the world for them. In retrospect, it does help Logan, again, catch up, be on the back of Josh. So, besides Luigi and Sin who have stayed out, if they pitted, we would have the top 2 in the World Championship, first and second, with about 5 laps to go fighting for the Grand Prix victory. But neither on any penalties. Seb, Roos and Cargo's Blong all on 3 set. Smallnet Q is in 9th after the 5 set. Still ahead of Eggy and Callum, who's been brought back into it a little bit. And same with Cal, who's got nothing to lose down in P13. Sin Icon on the hards. Don't know how well that's going to go. Luigi on the mediums. 5 laps. They won't be awful towards the end, but they surely won't be as quick as everyone behind them. Did the top 2 pit? Nope. Frosty in again. Right, as long as Frosty can catch them, which he probably will. An extra lap, only loses 1 place. Don't know how quickly the softs are going to deteriorate. But yeah, we'll have 5 laps of racing, as the safety car will be in this lap. And it is going to get a bit hectic. As they'll have to make their way past Luigi and Sin, who could be big outliers, but also deciders in this race. Because who's going to get past them easily? Who's going to struggle to get past them? Who's going to maybe be involved with them? Do they still have the pace to maintain? Logan, who found himself P16 at the end of lap 1, has found himself in P4. Championship leader, 33 points ahead of this man, Josh Hewitt, who's looking for his first win since the opening race. Morgan, 3rd in the standings, in 9th at the moment. He can gain a few places with the few in front with penalties. Sin Icon with a 3 set. Doesn't have much to lose in this Grand Prix, but at the moment he just has to hope for a miracle that the battles can be behind and he can get the gap. But on hards, that's going to be quite the task. But he will direct this second safety car of the Grand Prix. Callum led the first, now it's Sin Icon's time. And we'll head through Vale. And the 5-lap sprint shootout, pretty much. A 5-lapper, pretty much, to decide the winner of the Tier 2 Season 8 British Grand Prix. Sin Icon has left them as Josh Hewitt already on the charge. And if he can get this move done, it would be a brilliant timing at the restart. Down the inside, and that's already a penalty for Josh Hewitt, who, like I said, has tripped over trying to get past one of the two. And Logan is looking for a good victory at the moment as Hewitt gets a penalty. Eggy and Cal round, a collision between the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo. Something happened between them. Looking further front to the restart. Luigi already holding up Logan, who's blasting his batteries, trying to stay ahead. Same with Luigi. Down the inside goes the McLaren. Easier move for Luigi, and down the inside goes Seb, trying to maximise from that opportunity. Luigi squeezing the sister team out, and through goes Ruse for a switchback on the pair of them. What a move from the Williams. Seb still not giving this up without a fight. Luigi neither, and he's in the slip, and Luigi gets back ahead of Seb. What a move from Ruse, who could still be a thorn in any of the top 3 sides. Josh on the back of Sin Icon. These two have had their battles throughout the season. They've been good, they've been bad. Kua now gets a 3-second. Ruse now gets another 3-second. And Logan, his best quality, not getting time penalties. Josh Hughes on the rest, and they make contact, and Sin Icon's round. Don't know why he had to go for such a desperate move like that. But once again, Sin Icon's race has been sent anti-clockwise and into stone out. Luigi gets overtaken by Seb, and does he try and move down the inside? No, he doesn't fight it, and spinning there, side spinning, is Cargos Blanc in an attempt to get ahead of Luigi. Josh Hewitt then, with a 3-second and maybe even another penalty coming his way, leads the Grand Prix ahead of Logan, who's under pressure from Roos, and Cal is out in the pit lane. Chaos unfolding like we predicted. The last few races have been a little more calm, but this one has brought it right back to the inside. A little bit of contact between the Alfa Romeo to Nick sending it. And Roos versus Logan, they're wheel to wheel as they head through Woodcut. Roos now trying to switch back on Logan. Got the momentum, this time got the traction, using the battery. Same with Logan as they're gaining on Josh. And he just has to sit behind for now, as they plunge their way through Stowe Corner. And that's another warning for Roos, probably. Really could have won the race today with the pace they had. And Cargos Blanc versus Luigi to the inside of Maggots. And Luigi trying to get back ahead at Beckett's, but he's not got the momentum. And now Kua is all over the back of the Red Bull. He gives him barely any space to try and get ahead. And this straight really proven difficult to get ahead of slower cars, it seems. They've just got to be patient. Luigi at the moment stays ahead of Kua then, who's pushing him through the corners. Will he try to the inside? Yes, he does, as the Alfa Romeo in front flashing. Luigi hangs it around the outside. Kua still maintaining his wheel-to-wheel positions. And now around the final corner. Can Kua get the move done? That's a no. As Luigi's been hit, lost his front wing. Well, bit of it. And that's his race over too. Looking back to the top 3, 3 to go. And Hewitt, don't know if any of these lot can get a penalty removed or not. But Roos putting Logan under pressure, using their battery, and ahead of the McLaren, who just has to sit tight now because the victory is going to be handed to him with all the penalties. And small Nick, you never know where he could finish as well with no penalties. Same with Callum Haas, after their troubles with Sin Icon. Still could find himself with a good result due to all the penalties. He's on the back of Frosty. He's managed to get up into 8th. Small Nick on the back of Kua. The Haas making moves to try and fight their way forward. Gap to leader. Nick, he would gain a few places, maybe not the podium. It depends. And now Roos is just going to try and win this on track. It's in the slipstream. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream. He's now using a bit more ERS to take the lead of the British Grand Prix with 2 and a bit laps remaining. He won't win the British Grand Prix with 6 seconds of penalties, but they can do what they can. As Kua versus Nick, and Nick's been spun as well. Kua in the span of 1 lap spins Luigi and spins Nick as well, and Sin Icon I think as well has gone off too. So Roos starts the penultimate lap then. Logan on the back. Nick has retired. Luigi in as well. Josh still on the back of Roos. Logan still within DRS. Luigi to 5 set for speeding. The only one not getting points at the moment. So at the moment it's down to Callum if he can gain anything and get a podium out of this. At the moment, Logan is going to win the Grand Prix due to penalties and extend his championship advantage to Josh Hewitt, who at the moment is just trying to hang on to 2nd and will do that because he's about 6.5 ahead of Callum. But he's still under investigation for what happened with Sin Icon. Pretty much everyone is, apart from Logan, I believe. Seb versus James, that's for position. Each with no ERS. Hewitt's going to use everything he can to get back ahead. He wants to win this Grand Prix on track, and he's got the DRS, but he's not close enough quite yet. They're both flashing. Logan's still got some to use. James is gaining on Seb, but can't quite get the move done. And through goes Frosty Life. A little bit of contact on Hewitt. Callum watching this unfold. Hewitt goes off there, gets another 3 seconds. Stays behind the Aston for now. And there's a 3-car battle as we start the final lap of the British Grand Prix. What on earth? Bruce is lagging a bit. That allows Josh up into the lead. So Josh takes the lead. And yeah, Roos must have had some lag there. Lagged backwards. It's not going to change too much. Logan just has to stay within 3 seconds of the AlphaTauri. And on to the second last DRS straight. James is gaining and gaining on the AlphaTauri. This is for position. He'll wait until we get to the final straight. What about Frosty? He hangs on from Kua, who's still looking to the inside. Callum watching this unfold. Kua and Frosty fighting for positions. Callum knows he'll get the pair of them, but the more he stays behind them, the more chance he could lose any sort of positions. Through Cops for the final time then. Josh Hewitt versus Roos versus Logan. And Roos coming up to the back will probably make the overtake. The AlphaTauri is holding them up. As long as they get a good exit through Chapel, and that's good enough. And now they get the DRS, they'll find the gap they need, get right up to the rear wheel of the AlphaTauri, both not really using their DRS. Do they know it's the last lap? Through into Stowe for the final time, and Roos tags Josh a bit, and that allows Logan to go through, and it's the top 2 in the World Championship through the final chicane. Logan versus Josh. Round the outside goes Logan to make the move. Brilliant stuff from Logan. He was last at the start of the Grand Prix. At the end of the Grand Prix, he wins the Grand Prix. And Josh Hewitt crosses the line wheel to wheel with him. Roos spins over the line. Cargo's Blong, for the first time in his career, is on the podium ahead of Seb. That got a little frantic and chaotic towards the end. Kua gets 6th, Frosty 7th, Eggy 8th. I think that's a glitch with Roos. Tin Icon will come in for 10th. Luigi all the way down in 11th. And Logan. Class act. He was last at the end of lap 1 right here. And at the end of lap 26, he wins it on track. By 32 thousandths as Josh had that penalty. And Logan, he's done it again. There we have it. Logovic 09 wins the British Grand Prix, wins its home Grand Prix. Ahead of Josh Hewitt, is going to be gutted about that penalty, trying to overtake Luigi at the restart. Absolutely nothing from the McLaren race director there. His biggest strength is not getting penalties, and once again another race where that has benefited him. Can't interview second or third because they're not on Xbox, so we'll interview Logan. This is becoming quite a frequent thing after every race. You include your audio, mate.
Yeah.
Right, Logovic09, third win of the season, second win in a row, and your first ever home Grand Prix win. Logovic09, you have just won the British Grand Prix. How do you feel?
Oh my God. I'm so happy right now. Tell you what, I thought I was about to spin on the last lap. I can't lie, I kept it. I just was locked in on that last lap. I saw Ruse and Josh go side by side. I thought, oh, maybe slip my nose around the up the inside, which became the outside of the corner, which was the best for me. I saw him poke his nose back up the inside, and then because I ran a bit deep, I had the outside line. I could just put as much welly into it as I possibly could, and I got across the line. And if he were to get a pen removal, then I'd still beat him.
32,000. I have to ask, what happened on the opening lap at turn 5?
Basically, the hard tyres, I've not had a very good time with on the opening lap. In 3 of the races I've spun out in and basically used a bit of energy through the corner while side by side with Kua. No contact at all. I just went round.
You just lost it.
I
It
just
was your
lost
own error. Ah. You just wanted to make it interesting. Last on the opening lap, making his way through. No warnings the entire time. And probably the only driver who didn't get involved in any sort of collision. You made a daring move around the outside of the Haas coming out the pit lane, and then everything happened behind you, really. It's that meme of that aeroplane flying and the explosions in the background, and you're the airplane. Phenomenal drive. And then, yeah, maximising on Roos versus Josh. Got ahead of Roos, and then you could have won it if you stayed behind them both, but no, you aren't that kind of racer. You're a driver fighting for the World Championship. You went round the outside of Josh phenomenally and won it on track in front of the adoring British crowd. And just taken to your emotion, we're nearing the halfway stage after next week, and you're in the best prime position. You're the best driver at the moment in Tier 2. Any thoughts on pretty much the first half of the season?
Well, wow. I don't think anything's really gone wrong for me in this first half. I mean, the only 2 races I had a stinker in were the 2 races I got killed in. Apart from Bahrain. But again, it seems like whenever I start on the hards, I actually win races. But I don't like starting on the hard. But that is practically a carbon copy of Bahrain. Just this time, I beat Josh Hewitt for the win.
Was indeed. You came back with a vengeance, and you're getting a bit used to this. Bahrain last, and like at turn 4 on the opening lap, come back to second. Imola last around turn 3. No, turn 4
Yeah.
on the opening. What is it with you and the opening lap at turn 4? And then this time, once again, I think in Imola you came back to finish 5th or 3rd. No, 3rd, penalties. So you 3 times, and all the times you got on a podium of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You should just spin on purpose at turn 4 every race now on the opening lap. But yep, once again, your best quality of not getting penalties wins you the race, but that wasn't enough. You had to win it on track, and it was a class drive. So well done.
Thank you.
So we're on to Hungary next. Any thoughts on that?
Well. I don't want to get too far ahead. It's our halfway mark next week, isn't it? Because Monaco got
Yeah.
postponed.
Next
So
week. Next week is actually the halfway mark.
yeah. So I'm gonna try. Let's try and do three in a row. Let's try. Um, but I think honestly, I don't know. Hungary's
Don't worry, you're not getting promoted. You aren't like dominating these races. You're just like probably the smartest racer at the moment with not getting pens, not getting involved, and if you have those two mastered like you do, you're gonna do well in the races and the standings, and you're in peak form at the moment.
yeah,
Just don't get complacent.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say right. Um, I remember after Monaco, I got taken out. Mr. Bramniet Lang joined the call, and he said, "Logan, you're washed. Stop bitching and moaning and get on with it." Tell you what, Bram, I think I've done that. I've done that quite well. So, thank you for that spike of motivation, because that got me in the right frame of mind.
Yep. Peak performance the last couple of races from you. Qualifying is decent from you, and then you just make up for it in the race. Because yeah, there were some tough times to beat today. You qualified where? Sixth, I think. Seventh?
Sixth, but it was an absolute,
Sixth.
it was a howler of a lap. It was
Mm.
disgusting. I don't think I've ever gone quicker on a banker like that ever. And knowing that
Yeah,
I
I think
had about a tenth,
you got third or something on your banker.
I,
Fourth,
yeah,
third, fourth.
I had about a tenth in all sectors, and to finish on a 25.8 was like, oh, well, that's disappointing because I could have been with Ruse, I could have been around him, but I wanted to say as well, shout out to to Ruse because I don't know what he had today, but he was so quick.
Yep. Would have been interesting to see what his actual final quali lap would have been because he was up by a tenth and a half, and then we saw him spun at the exit of Stowe, and Callum got pole by 2,000. So it would have been very interesting to see what that would have been if the lap was completed. But anyway, yeah, you started sixth, was 16th at the end of lap one, made your way up, got the strategy right, got the warnings. Well, you didn't really get the warnings, but then you got the win, and it was brilliant to see the top two in the standings side by side as they crossed the line. Your teammate, any word on him? Finishing, well, not finishing, retiring once again, an unlucky race for him.
I was speaking to him before the race. I was just speaking to him about the team and stuff like that, and yeah, I don't think he's in the best place for league racing at the moment. So I don't know whether it'll be his end of or the end of. Oh yeah, he's just announced that he's stepping down. But that's a shame because he was a good teammate. Obviously his win in Australia was good to see. It was good to see him winning. Considering he's a very nice guy. But I mean, to see him win was obviously nice. To be his teammate for 10 races was also nice. Obviously, the results might not have gone his way, but I mean, I've just got to give him credit for being there and racing every single week until he wanted to step down. But I mean, if he's got like life stuff to do or whether he's not in the zone for it, then yeah, that's his decision at the end of the day. I would have liked to hold on to him as a teammate and see him progress, but I mean, uh once again, at the end of the day, it's his decision. But yeah, you will be missed, Cal.
Yeah, we'll talk to him during the week, see what we can do with it, do about that. But as for now, that has been the British Grand Prix, and Logan is, I'd say, not. You didn't really get involved in anything, right?
Apart from Luigi, like nearly swiping me on the main straight, so I forced him off at turn 5.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you
Yeah.
saw that on the stream because you go, oh, and he's been forced off the road a bit there. I was like,
Yeah, I don't know if he went wide or you forced him wide, but
no, I
oh well.
forced him wide because he made nearly killed me. So yeah,
We'll see. Anyway, for now, I think you've won the Grand Prix, so very well done. Well done to Josh on second and James on his first podium. For now, but anything could change after Stewing. But for now, that has been the British Grand Prix. We will see you in 1 week time for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I've been F1 Union, your main commentator for tonight, and we'll see you next week.